A talking point I've been wanting to bring up, and I guess it being 4th of July is a perfect time. The talking point is, as black people, are we truly free? You have a lot of people who say the black community or black people are not truly free. And I guess they would point to systematic things that are still being done towards us as a community, either, as a whole, as a black community, or within our actual geographic communities, actively doing things to hold us back. Now, to disregard that, to say that there hasn't been anything systematically done, to disregard that, I would be in the wrong. So, no, I do believe there has been systematic things. And I do believe there are some systematic things that were in place that are still in place now that could hold us back if we allow it to. Again, that could hold us back if we allow it to. But if you take a look at history, not just American history, but history throughout the world, there's always been some kind of systematic oppression. And that just comes from abuse of power. There's always been some sort of, person of power who basically does what they want. And unfortunately, we're at the end of the stick. But this doesn't necessarily mean that we're not free. And I know people talk about, Abraham Lincoln freeing the slaves and this and this and this, and how it may or may not have, whatever the case may be. But what I'm saying is, I believe it's all in the state of the mind. Again, it's all in the state of the mind. I believe firmly, if we continuously think that we're not free, if we continuously think that, the systematic things that they've done or are doing to us is the reason for our downfall currently, and the reason why we cannot have forward progress, then I firmly believe that narrative will continuously get played out in real life. As long as we see it as that, it will always be that. Again, as long as we see it as, we're still being held back, we're going to find the evidence that that's true. Again, we're going to find the evidence that that is true. Like I always say, the greatest trick that one could do is to continuously make you think that you're still a slave. So if we free our mind from that thinking and we say, okay, boom, I'm not going to allow the circumstances that may be here or were here to hold me back. Now you allow your mind to think and to create new ways and new avenues. But as long as we have it in our mind frame, our mental frame, that we're not free and things still hold us back and this and that, that narrative has to be played out. It has to be played out, right? How could it not? You can't think one thing and then get another, or believe one thing and get another. So if you truly want to be free, then it starts in the mind. Just like everything else. If you want to be rich, it starts in the mind. If you want to be healthy, it starts in the mind. So if we truly want to be free and truly want to experience freedom, it all starts in the mind. Again, the mind is a very powerful tool. So let's not, you know, misuse it with shallow thinking. It's like we're underserving our brain power. We're underserving our manifestation abilities. We're underserving them. By not thinking, you know, how in depth we could really go as a community. We stunt that by thinking that we're still not free. That's why I don't like that type of thinking anymore. That's why I don't like that, you know, even if it's like, you know, cracking jokes. About, you know, anything. But specifically on this topic, you know, that's why I don't like cracking jokes about if people say, you know, oh, we still ain't free. I don't like paying attention to that type of joke because it could signal inside of my head. It could activate some kind of thinking now, you know, if I accept that as my reality. And I refuse. So are we truly free? I say we're as free as we ever gonna be. Again, I say we're as free as we're ever gonna be. It's just we have to really see it now. Like I said the analogy before, it's like the elephant, when it's a baby, they tie it to a stake in the circus, right? They tie it to a stake in the ground. And when the baby elephant is young, it can't pull that stake up out the ground. But then when the elephant grows up, you know, it still has that same thinking that it can't pull that stake up out the ground. So therefore the elephant stays stuck. And I believe the black community is like, you know, the elephant. At one point in time, it was a point in time where, you know, we were held back. But as long as we still keep thinking like that baby elephant, you know, they don't have to do nothing. But the moment we realize that we a 4 ton, you know, 3 ton, 4 ton monster, we can just easily rip that stake up out the ground and go on about our business. So whether it's true or not, the more that you believe in it or you say it, you're invested in the thought that we're still not free. And to me, if you really want to advance in life, what's the point of even thinking that you're not free? Because like I said, that's what will become your reality. The more that you subscribe to that, the more that you say, I believe this is true, the more that you believe, you know, and accept that as your narrative, is the more that it will appear. It's the more that it'll appear. That's why you can't accept it into your reality. Because it don't do nothing for you. You have to say, if I watch this or accept this in my reality, what will it do? Will this produce the outcome that I truly want? And you have to say that about anything that you ingest. But in this topic here,
We're talking about being free. Like I said, you gotta reject anything and you have to reject anything and everything that doesn't align with the narrative that you want to play out. That goes for anything that you ingest and thought patterns. So are we truly free? I would say yes. Your mind just gotta catch up. Your outlook on life gotta catch up. Anyways, let me know how y'all feel about this. This is your favorite cousin Rich. Y'all be safe. Love and blessings.